Hello, dear learners. Welcome back to Mega Discourse, where literature meets excellence. And I am back with another master video on Neoclassic Age. And Neoclassic Age means new, that is new. And classic means the classical learning of Greek, Romans, and French literature. So, Neoclassic Age means the revival of new classical learning. And this age is further divided into three ages: the Restoration Age, the Age of Pope, and the Age of Johnson. And collectively, this age is known as the Age of Reason, Science, and Logic. In this lecture, we are going to cover our Restoration Age. And before understanding the Restoration Age, we have to understand the Neoclassic Age. And I hope you will get the idea that why the Restoration Age is known for its revival of literature. So the Restoration Age refers to the period between 1616 to 1700 when King Charles II was restored to the throne after 11 years of Puritan rule under Oliver Cromwell. And during Puritan rule, we come to know that theatres were banned, there were no music, no art, and literature was moral and didactic, religious. So, but with the rise of Restoration Age, with the rise of Charles II, the entire nation shifted from Puritan strictness, Puritan seriousness to the joy, pleasure, and art. So, the Restoration Age means rebirth of literature, emotions, theatre, human joy, so and so. Now, before understanding what actually Restoration Age has, we have to understand the historical background. There was civil war between king and the parliament, which has led to execution of Charles I. And then England became a commonwealth under the rule of Oliver Cromwell, who was a strict Puritan ruler known as the Lord Protector. After Cromwell's death, monarchy was restored in 1660 and Charles II became king. And this restoration marked peace, stability, and cultural revival after the years of silence. It is important to note that when King Charles II lived in exile in France, where he was influenced by the French writer, the French culture, especially Molière, Restoration Age reflected French culture, French wit, and French learning in there. What about social, political, and economic background? Seriously, society was shifted from religious austerity to materialism and pleasure. Upper class became fashionable, witty, and luxurious. Women started performing on the stage for the first time in England, and the first women writer was Ephra Ben written Orinoco. The Anglican Church and monarchy regained their dominance, and England began to rise economically with trade, colonies, and science. And we have the Royal Society, which was formed in 1602, which presented scientific theory, scientific thinking, scientific experiment, showing the influence of reason, science, logic, and observation. And the key members are John Evelyn, Samuel Pepys, Isaac Newton, John Locke, Robert Boyle, and they all have a single motto: to give science experiments. Now, what about the literary background? As we know that the literature under Puritan age was under the seriousness and strictness of Puritan rule. So the Restoration period is one of the most vibrant and theoretical ages in English literature. After years of silence, literature was reopened and it celebrated wit, realism, and sophistication. So the three major literary genres of this age are drama, poetry, and prose. So let us explain each of them in rich detail. So first and foremost thing, we have drama in Restoration Age. So the drama of the Restoration period became the most celebrated form of art. Why? Because theatre had been closed during the Puritan rule, and when they reopened, people rushed to joy, to the liveliness they had missed for years. And restoration drama developed into three types. The first we have comedy of manner. As the title signifies, manners means the behavior of human, the behavior of society. So the comedy of manner means the representation of the fashionable ideas, the fashionable society of London. It means it uncovered their love affair, their flirtation, hypocrisy, and witty conversation. It satirizes the manners, the social behavior of the upper class, the court ladies, and the gallants. It shows the moral looseness of restoration society after the rigid Puritan rule. So the features of comedy of manners have like upper class life and love intrigues, smart and witty dialogues. We have artificial and flirtation, clever lovers and witty heroines, themes of adultery, seduction, and marriage as a social game, like The Way of Word, written by William Congreve. We have women which first appeared as actors on the stage, and their language is very brilliant, witty, repartee, means quick exchange of clever remarks, irony, satire. Major writers were William Congreve, The Way of Word. We have couple Mirabel and Millamant, and their marriage proposal, that is the proviso scene, very important in this play. William Congreve have presented the theme of marriage in this play. The next we have William Wycherley, The Country Wife. We have character of Homer, who pretends to be important to seduce married women. It was a satire on upper class hypocrisy. The next we have George Etheridge, written The Man of Maud. These all three plays are very important and they are net PYQ. We have the character of Dorimant. He was a charming libertine. The next genre we have heroic tragedy. Heroic tragedy is drama. It is written in heroic couplet, which is rhymed iambic pentameter, dealing with love, honor among noble characters. This form was inspired by French classical drama, particularly by Corneille and Racine. And Charles II has been in France during exile. Earlier, I told you that Charles II was in France during his exile period, and the influence of France can be seen in literature clearly. Features of heroic tragedies are: it is written in heroic couplet. We have theme of love versus honor, duty versus passion. There is a characters king, queen, and nobles. We have grand language, elevated language, and ornamental language. The aim to write the heroic tragedy is to show heroic virtue through conflict. The major writers we have John Dryden, the important one. After the name of John Dryden, this age is known as the age of Dryden. He the founder of heroic tragedy. He has written The Indian Queen, The Indian Emperor, The Tyrannic Queen, All for Love, which actually reworking of Shakespearean Antonio and Cleopatra. And in this play, he quote, "Men are but children of larger growth." Then we have Nantya Lee, who wrote The Rival Queen. Another we have Restoration Tragedy. Restoration Tragedy continued the tradition of high tragic emotion, but it was bombastic, rhetorical, and less natural. So the features of the Restoration Tragedy are grand and ornate language. We have political and moral theme, sometimes artificial in tone, and it was influenced later sentimental drama. You can say it replaced by sentimental tragedy. Important writer we have Thomas Otway, who wrote Venice Preserved in 1682. The next we have sentimental drama, and we can say it flourished in later restoration period. So in this later restoration period towards 1690, morality started returning to theatre. So the playwright created sentimental comedy, tragedy, and we can say sentimental drama, where virtue triumphs and emotion replaces wit. The writer like Colley Cibber, who wrote Love's Last Shift, and Richard Steele, who wrote The Conscious Lovers. They are fine example of sentimental comedy. So they have serious tone, moral endings, and emotional appeal in their drama. They oppose the vulgarity of earlier comedy of manner. Next we have restoration poetry. So after drama, poetry was next powerful form. It became a vehicle for political satire, moral reflection, and intellectual expression. So, the first we have satirical poetry. As the name signifies, the poetry in which a lot of satire has been used. Satire means the art of ridiculing human weakness, hypocrisy, or corruptions to correct by laughter. So, the main poet is John Dryden, the father of English satire, and his key works are Absalom and Achitophel, written in 1681, which is very important work. It is a political satire on Duke of Monmouth rebellion against Charles II. Here, Absalom is Duke of Monmouth and Achitophel is the Earl of Shaftesbury. Here's a famous line, "Beware of the fury of a patient man." It is important because each character represents the real personality and it asked frequently. So please read this work carefully. The next we have Macflecknoe, another more heroic poem which is mocking at Tom Shadwell as the heir of dullness. It is a satire on bad poets, and famous line is "Shadwell alone my perfect image bears." The next we have Annus Mirabilis, which celebrates England's endurance during the Great Fire of London and the Dutch War. Satirists as well, like Samuel Battle, who wrote Hudibras. He was mocked Puritan hypocrisy. It was actually an burlesque. It was written in rough, humorous rhyming couplets. Another genre we have heroic poetry, which deals with bravery, patriotism, and honor. It uses heroic couplet. It has an elevated style. For example, Dryden's Annus Mirabilis is a perfect example of heroic poetry. And To My Lord Chancellor Hyde. The next we have religious and didactic poetry like John Bunyan and Milton's later influence continued here. The another form we have Restoration prose. The Restoration prose saw the beginning of modern English prose, simple, logical, and elegant. So we have religious and allegorical prose like John Bunyan's The Pilgrim Progress. Earlier I told you it influenced later writer. The next we have John Dryden, who wrote critical prose like An Essay of Dramatic Poesy in 1668, important work. It is the first great work of English literary criticism. It discussed ancient versus modern drama, French versus English drama. Characters in dialogue are Crites, Eugenius, Lycidas, and Neander, which Neander is also Dryden's self-representation. And in this work, Dryden wrote that drama is an imitation of life. So read this work carefully. The next we have philosophical and reflective prose like Sir William Temple. He wrote essays on politics and society. We have John Locke, who was the member of Royal Society. He wrote essay concerning human understanding, 1690, birth of English empiricism, important one. The next we have Tom Spratt, History of Royal Society. It reflects the science. Now the another writer we have John Evelyn. John Evelyn was a gentleman, scholar, and one of the founding member of Royal Society. So he lived through the English Civil War, the Commonwealth, and the Restoration, and his writing give us a personal window into those changing times. He wrote diary. He is a famous diarist, best known for his diary written during 1620 to 1706. It was published posthumously in 1818. The next he wrote Sylva or Discourse Forest Trees, was on forestry and environment conservation. And he was the first English writer who wrote on environmental awareness. The next we have Samuel Pepys. Samuel Pepys worked as a naval administrator and he was a mentor in Parliament. His diary remains one of the most famous personal document in English literature. And it was written during 1616 to 1609. It contains the Great Plague 1665, the Great Fire of London 1666, and the coronation of Charles II. And these three events are important so far as the historical background of Restoration age is concerned. The next we have Thomas Rhymer. He coined the term poetic justice. He was a literary critic and historian. Rhymer applied classical and neoclassical rules in English drama. His important work are The Tragedies of the Last Age, written in 1678, and A Short View of Tragedy, his most famous critical work. And his term poetic justice means virtue must be rewarded and vice punished in every tragedy. You know what? He condemned Shakespeare for breaking rules, calling Othello a bloody farce. Next we has William Dampier. William Dampier was a navigator or an explorer. He traveled across the world 3 times and became the first Englishman to explore the parts of Australia and New Guinea. His important works are The New Voyage Round of World and Voyages and Discoveries, A Discourse of Wind, Tides and Currents. And you know what? His work influenced later Jonathan Swift and scientists such as Charles Darwin. So, in a nutshell, Restoration marks the rebirth of literature, theatre, and wit. We have this age is known for the reason, logic, and science, which replaced Puritan seriousness and their strictness. And John Dryden dominated as a poet, dramatist, and a critic. We have Comedy of Manners, which became the true mirror of upper class startup. And this age prepared the ground for Augustan literature of Pope and Swift. So the Restoration Age was not just the restoration of king, it was the restoration of literature, laughter, wit. From the silence of Puritan to the sparks of satire, this was the Restoration Age where art woke up and wit ruled the world. And if you find my lecture insightful, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Megha Discourse, where literature meets excellence. And our next lecture will be the Augustan Age, or you can say the Age of Pop. Bye bye.